Alright, so I've got a video here for you guys today. It's kind of a two-in-one, maybe even a three-in-one. Gonna cover some farming strategy as well as just while I'm playing. Gonna talk a little bit about why I think Diablo 2 is such a great game, even after 20 years, and just the aspects of it that I think make it stand out and stand apart from things even that are in the current generation of video gaming. And also just gonna go through kind of my farming circuit that I'm kind of coming up with right now. This will actually be the first time I've done it, so hopefully it's efficient, and that's kind of the main thing you're looking for when you're farming. So I'm gonna run through roughly in my mind what I want to do. I'm gonna farm. I'm gonna kill Shink. I'm gonna kill Eldritch, which is another unique monster that super unique. So that means he always spawns in the same spot. So Shink, Eldritch, they're in the Frigid Highlands. So I'm gonna kill them, and then I'm going to kill Pendleskin. Pendleskin's kind of the one I'm not sure about, just because every time I've tried, every time I've killed him, it's been a lot more dangerous than I expected, and it's taken longer than I thought it would. And part of it's just because of the charge ability that the returned undead have there, and also the layout. My hammers end up hitting the walls and objects there a lot. Otherwise, I have to run out and really expose myself and be completely surrounded, and I might die if I do that. So I've been kind of hesitant. They also seem to really just, delete my mercenary because he can't life leech from them. After I do that, I'm going to do kind of the quick farming things first. So those two should be pretty quick. Act 4, I'm going to kill Diablo, but I'm going to save that until later. In Act 3, I'm going to do the Travancore, because that's really quick, and just from what I've been looking at, it looks like from killing, all of the council members, statistically, it's kind of the best place to farm high runes, just because of how many there are of them and their drop rate. Not really gonna do anything in Act 2, and then in Act 1, I'm gonna do the pits. I'm gonna do Countess, and I'm gonna do the cow level. And like I said, I'm also gonna kill Diablo. So Mephisto, if I could teleport to him, I would probably do him too, but the Durance of Hate is a very large maze-like level, and so running through it can take quite a bit of time if you're unlucky, as well as some of the monsters there, like those little skeletal pygmy guys, are pretty dangerous, and this being hardcore, I don't want to take that risk. So let's get started here. So let's run up here. This is that Eldritch guy I was telling you about. He always spawns right here. He's that green guy that just died, and dropped this loch bar axe. That'll probably sell for a decent amount of gold, so I'm just gonna pick it up. I also like to pick up class items like clasped orbs and stuff. If they have plus to skills, they generally sell for up to 35k. Then we're gonna run down here, and we're gonna kill Shink. And so, just with rare amulet, with Diablo, in my opinion, it's still one of the best games that I've ever played, just for several reasons. And the main one, I think, is that when I play RPGs, what I look for now, or what I've come to appreciate in them, is when the classes are unique and different from each other. I want customization, but I don't want so much customization that I can't just jump into the game and play.
Good afternoon.
And I think that's one area where some of the current games, yeah, nah. Some current games, I think they fall into that trap where they give you so much customization that it's almost, you know, that you can't just jump in and play the game and enjoy it. And that's kind of how I feel Path of Exile has become, or is. As well as Grim Dawn, I thought was good when it first came out. I was having a lot of fun with it, and then when they added in the constellation system, it's cool, but there's just so much there that you can't make a good setup without spending a ton of time looking at it, researching it, or just copycatting someone else's, you know, setup or build. And who knows if theirs is efficient or not. Now, I've had a lot of fun in both of those games, but I still have not had anywhere near as much fun in them as I have in Diablo 2 and even Diablo 1. And I think it's just because of the, you know, the simplicity, but it's kind of like an iceberg. It's like Diablo on the surface is a simple game, yet there's so much there for you to discover, but you don't need to know it to just jump in and play the game and enjoy it. And even if you don't find out about it till later, you're not really any worse off.
What is this place?
Alright, see, I don't know how to get... Okay, there we go. Okay, so maybe you can life leech off these guys. Maybe the last time I came here I didn't have my life leech helm for him. This is going so much better than it has the other few times I've killed him. This is the other annoying thing, is that they can resurrect themselves. So if you're not careful, you can end up getting your escape route cut off. Okay, so those things... Whoa. Oh, you see how much damage they do to me? See, it's like when I get hit with the charge, it's like almost half my health. And I have a hard time getting my hammers on him. Okay, there we go. Kind of lost my train of thought there. So yeah, you can jump in and you can enjoy Diablo. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. That curse. Yeah, so you can jump in and you can just enjoy Diablo even if you don't know everything about the game, and there's no systems in it that at first glance are overwhelming. And I think especially for new players, and this is one reason why Diablo still has a growing player base, and Grim Dawn and Path of Exile, you know, it kind of comes and goes for those games. But there's no system at first glance in Diablo that you just feel overwhelmed with, and that can be a huge turn-off to new players. I've tried to get people I know into Path of Exile, and sometimes they enjoy it, but really, anyone I've tried to get into Path of Exile, they check it out and they play it a little bit, and a lot of times they don't even get to act like 4 or 5. Oh shit. Before they kind of get burned out, or they just make a really shitty build and then they don't want to replay all the content that they just played to make a new character. But their build is so bad that you know, they can't progress any farther. And so it's kind of demoralizing for them, and pretty much every time that happens, whoever I'm trying to get to play the game just quits. And, you know, I understand how that can be frustrating. So, whoa. Oh, I didn't see that guy. Alright, so that's pretty much all that's the quick farming stuff that I'm gonna do here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do a cow level, just because I haven't done cow level yet in Hell. So I want to check that out and just kind of see how my character does there. But yeah, so every time I get people to try out those games, that's what happens, is they run into that situation and then they end up quitting. Whereas with Diablo, especially when they added in respecking, there's not really much you can do to mess your build up so badly that you can't progress through. You can easily make it through the entire game on normal with pretty much any build, and you can get through Nightmare as well with most any build. It's really once you get to, you know, Hell that you need a good build to get through. And for a lot of people, you know, if they want to keep playing the game at that point, they're gonna keep playing the game, and they're gonna find out those builds, or they're gonna just try harder to get through the game. So once you get players to the point where they want to beat Hell difficulty, they're pretty much hooked. And I think the real thing that I love about Diablo and Diablo 2 is when I think about certain games, like when I think about an MMO, or an, you know, MMO ARPG, like I was playing Lost Ark, closed beta, checking it out, because I remember seeing the trailer for it years ago, and I always wanted to play it. The game looks really good, but the thing that is a little bit of a turnoff for me on it is it has that same aspect of an MMO where it's almost like a second day job. It's almost like a second job, because in order to progress, you have to put in, you know, your hours. You have to put in your time. I forgot to res my merc. You have to put in, you know, the hours. You have to put in the time. And that's how you progress in the game. Like, you get like a sword that does 10 damage, and then you get a sword that does 20 damage, and then 30 and 40, and so on. So it's almost like a job. It's like you put in the hours, you do the work, and you'll incrementally progress through the game. Some people I think like that because you progress. Your progression is directly correlated to the amount of time and effort you put in and what you do. Much like a job and earning money, etc. But in Diablo and Diablo 2, it's all RNG. It's like basically this is, you know, digital gambling with RPG elements. So when
Impossible.
let's see here. Your progression is not at all tied to... Oh, that's kind of... it's not terrible, but still not really usable. Your progression is not at all tied to how much you play. I mean, in a way it is, just because then you're pulling the slot machine, you know, more times, so you have more chances at winning. But basically, you know, it's gambling. Like, this is just a gambling simulator in a way. And that's why I think a lot of people really get hooked on it, because, you know, you may not be a gambler or gamble, but this is one good way to tell if you might have a gambling addiction, because it's like, oh, I just want to kill Diablo one more time because I just feel like I'm gonna get that drop, you know, this time. And that's one of the things that just gets me hooked, is I feel like, okay, one more run. One more run and I'm gonna get that drop, or something along those lines. And I really dislike a game, you know, it always feels like something interesting could happen when I'm playing this game. And I don't have to, like, I can do it in bite sizes, so like I can hop on, I can play for 20 or 30 minutes, or I can do one run, and it feels like I, you know, did something, you know, something relaxing. You know, just killing monsters. You don't have to put much thought into it. I don't have to deal with other people. I don't have to coordinate my schedule with anyone in order to get the best gear. I just jump in, I just start killing monsters, and, you know, just keep pulling the slot machine, and eventually, you know, something, you know, might happen. You might win. You might get that. You might get the jackpot. So that is why I think Diablo 2 is so addicting, and why 20 years later it still has a huge still has a significant player base. I mean, I can't think of any other game that has been around for 20 years that still has an active player base. On the original game. I mean, there's a couple other Blizzard games. I mean, original Blizzard games, they were just something really special. You could tell that the people making them really cared about the quality of the game. And there was not this, like, the culture... Oh, crap. Whoa. Somebody's got, like, mana burn. There was not this culture. Like, I feel like modern Blizzard is kind of like the the I can't believe it's not Blizzard.
Good day.
Blizzard. You know, it's like, yeah, that it looks like Blizzard, and sometimes it feels like Blizzard, but it's not Blizzard. You know, like how they're taking out everything. They're just like removing all this content from the game because they're so afraid now of potentially like anyone being offended by anything. Especially over all this stuff with the lawsuit they've been dealing with the last few months. And it's just really sad because the original guys, like, and just culture at large back then, like, people didn't worry about that stuff. They just did they just did what they thought was cool and then left it to the player and to the you know, the observer to decide whether or not they also thought it was cool. And in doing that, they made 3 of the greatest gaming franchises ever. And they made, you know, several games that will live on. Oh shit. My mercenary is just getting destroyed.
I can't.
That's one thing that really sucks when your mercenary keeps dying, is you just lose a ton of gold. I'm even popping like full rejuve potions on him, and he's still dying so fast that I was not able to heal him quickly enough. But yeah, it's just sad that Blizzard is so afraid of their own shadow now that they don't want to live up to their legacy. And instead they would just rather self-censor everything publicly, yet in privately we learn of all the things that they've been doing. And I think that's just kind of typical of that mindset.
I can't
Publicly, they say and do certain things, yet privately, they're actually the ones who are guilty of what they pretend to profess. So, like, for example, if they accuse everyone of X, then publicly, then it's, you know, not a surprise when you find out privately that they're guilty of X themselves. And I think a lot of it is like, you know, compensating and covering for their own behavior. Because if you're the one accusing everyone else of something, then you're less likely to. It's kind of a way to deflect. It's like a deflection technique. So I've known other people that do that. That, you know, they accuse everyone at work of being lazy, and then it turns out that they themselves are actually kind of lazy. But then they're able to convince certain people that they're not lazy because they've been saying that these other people are lazy. So it's unfortunate. And just in the instance with Blizzard, typically when that happens, you get your just rewards. The only thing is just how long it takes for that to happen. But most you know, what goes around comes around, so. Alright, and just gonna kind of start killing everything now without too much commentary. That's kind of everything I had to say on the subject. So anything else though, if something happens, I will chime back in. But that's kind of my 2 cents on those subjects. Hopefully was provide a little insight. Yeah, and see, this is kind of what I'm talking about, where if you find something like this will probably sell for a lot of gold. Actually gonna make a trip back to town real quick just to sell.
Hello.
I've almost got enough gold where I'm going to do a big gambling session. I haven't decided what I'll try and gamble for though yet, because I wouldn't get a huge getting another circlet or a diadem on this character wouldn't give me too big of a benefit. I'm gonna craft an amulet, or try and craft a good amulet, so gambling for amulets also isn't very appealing right now. So I may just gamble on a bunch of rings, because my rings are kind of lackluster. Not really sure yet. I may do some digging to try and figure out what would be the best thing to gamble on in this situation. I really want to make a barbarian next, but I just haven't got the gear yet. I was hoping I would be able to get a full Sigan set before I make him, but so far I've only got like 3 pieces maybe, and I also need, to find a decent weapon. Right now I don't have one. I don't really have any gear for a barbarian yet. I've got some runes to make like some kind of decent rune words for him, but since I've only just started farming hell for the most part, I'm still pretty limited on my gear. I do like to still identify magic amulets. I found this amulet just somewhere, I think in the pit, and I ID'd it. So if I didn't have that, I would not have capped resists. And if I can find a, you know, high plus all resist plus, you know, if I could get another, let's see, what does this have? That has a prefix. So if I could get another one with a suffix, that would be even better. So I could still find an upgrade from a magic amulet. So I don't think it hurts to check.
I can't carry anymore.
I just realized I kind of forgot to talk about farming strategy. So the main thing is to look for areas where you have high monster density and a high level of monsters, and also the speed at which you can do it, as well as super unique monsters or just champion and unique monsters. Those are the main things to look for. And if you're not sure what would be the best area for you or your build, just go ahead and kind of try them all out. Do a little experimentation. See how long it takes you to clear something, and then compare that to other areas and just see how effective and easy it is. And then kind of gauge that, and then again, you know, it's all, we're here to have fun, so variety helps with that. So at the end of the day, if you're having fun, then that's really the only thing that matters in this game. So as you're killing stuff, you know, just make sure you're still having fun.
I am overburdened.
Alright, so it looks like this is just about clear. Then I'm gonna go and do a Chaos Sanctuary run. I don't feel quite strong enough to try and farm Mephisto or Bale, and I think it would take me too long to make it really efficient. I'm not really so worried about killing Bale or even Bale's minions, but the Worldstone Keep has such a high variety of monster spawns and monster variety that some of them are really dangerous for me, and there's just a lot of there's some sort of bug with attack speed right now from what I've been seeing and hearing, supposedly. And it seems like or it's not really maybe even a bug, but it just seems like the developers removed the cap on attack speed, so you can hit really high attack speed points, attacks per second. And so any monsters like the Minotaur guys in Act 5 that use Frenzy, they are very scary now because they're hitting such high attack speeds and their damage is the same. So if they get a couple hits on you and increase their attack speed, their attacks don't really seem to match up with their animations sometimes anymore. So you might be getting hit and taking damage when it doesn't look like you should. And so if you experience that, I believe that is why. So watch out for that. Also, any monster packs with like fanaticism, that's also something to be concerned about because it may be putting their attack speed at higher points than was ever intended. So watch out for that. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording because I kind of run out of things to talk about. I'm just going to do this Chaos Sanctuary run after that. So hope this was, enjoyable. Thanks for listening and watching if you made it this long. And remember to give them the D.